I'm Janacek. I attend Scarborough High School. I'm a 2016 kid, and I play shooting guard. The way I play, I let it fly anytime I get it. I come down pin downs, I set screens to come off screens, I pull up, create my own shot, I can dribble when I have to, I can make passes, and I rebound, and I've developed a sense of toughness, and it's really helped me, and I'm excited for this season.
This season, so you went on, well, you're about to go on record now.
Yep.
It's to saying that you are the best shooter in this city.
The best shooter in the city.
Where does that confidence come from?
It comes from, number one, my repetitions in the gym, early mornings, late nights, literally 5 a.m. with my dad every morning, put up 300, 400 shots, and it's also come from just proving it on the court, and that's really a lot of the confidence comes from.
It seems like everyone knew that you could shoot in previous years, so now you've added, that element of being able to handle the ball, as you mentioned,
right.
To your game, which takes your game to a completely different level now.
Yeah.
How have you been looking in the preseason, open gyms with your teammates and stuff like that?
It's been great. We got a lot of freshmen coming in, so I have to really step into that leader role as a junior, really had to do it as a sophomore, so I'm developing that leader role early on, and we looked really good against Straight Jesuit, and I think we played George Ranch, and I just shot the ball really well, created shots for my teammates, rebounded well, and did little things that put our team over teams that are supposed to be better than us.
This summer was a good summer for you, playing with the hoops.
Amazing.
Just talk about, a lot of times kids that don't play on that highest level, when they get to high school, it's easier. So when you're on that higher level playing against, the best players in the country, when you get to high school, you get to your district, slaughterhouse.
Right.
Has that been the same way for you in previous years, or was your mind frame different this year going into this season?
This year I was given the opportunity to play on, a very big stage, and it did pay off. But if you put in the work and you work with your teammates and do the little things, you'll get seen. And it doesn't matter if you're playing for the hoops or you're playing for whoever. As long as you just go out there, do what you do best, and do it at the right times, and make the right plays, anything can happen for you.
So it seems like you mentioned 5 a.m. shots with your dad. It seems like you are definitely a routine type of guy.
Sure.
Do you write down goals? Do you have a journal? Do you take notes? What is that like for you?
It's funny. My mom, 2 or 3 years ago, I always did things crazily. I never really did anything on task, and she was like, why don't you just try writing stuff down and setting goals for yourself weekly, daily, and yearly. And so at first it was hard to do, and I'd start for a week and then stop for a month and start for a month and stop for 2 weeks, and then finally once I got it going, things started coming into place, and it was weird. It was almost iconic that like what she said and I didn't want to do is now working, and it just happened right on time that I realized that when you put stuff, organize it, and get everything going, it's weird, like stuff will come at you that you didn't even have on that organized and goal list, and you will reach your goals and things will come. It's truly amazing.
So basically what you're saying is mama knows best.
Mama always knows best.
It seems like, especially coming into this season, you seem like a different kid. It seems like, you're kind of coming into your own a little bit. I think, when we met a few years back, I think you were kind of like just happy to be around. I think you seem a little bit more like business-minded about what's going on.
Sure.
Does that come from many plays, or is just maturity?
I think a lot of it has to do with maturity, and I think a lot of it has to do with just hours in the gym. You start with a basic nutshell, and over time that nutshell grows, and you build on it, and eventually you just grow into who you were meant to be if you put in the work. And I think that's what's starting to happen. I'm starting to see what my true potential can be, and if I continue to stay in the gym and keep my head on straight.
College. So obviously you got some time.
For sure.
But at the same time, you definitely are. Do you look ahead that far, or do you kind of focus on the moment and taking care of the seconds and the minutes leading up to that, or?
Sometimes you have to look ahead just to stay motivated and know that you gotta chase something. You can't just do things, sometimes you do have to look ahead for some motivation, and I do, but a lot of times my mom or dad or friends will be like, all right, enough with the offers or the intention, just let that go and work like you didn't have them, and usually it does let you know that you do need to go back in the gym and keep putting in that work.
Yeah, sometimes, and I was just talking to some of the other players, sometimes you can easily, especially with social media, you can easily get caught up in just what's going on.
Definitely.
Because somebody might be tweeting you and saying, Hunter's the best shooter I've ever seen, and you start feeling that, like, oh yeah, I am, and then next thing you know, you ain't been in the gym in 2 weeks.
I think that's what separates the good players and the great players, for sure. That hype and stuff, you can either take it in and sit back and enjoy it at the time, or you can know that, well, I could work harder and get double this or triple this and reach my goals, and hopefully someday be able to really do great things with it.
Is there any player, like past or present, on the pro level that you emulated or that you kind of loved watching growing up, or even still love watching to this day? Just one guy.
Klay Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched him all summer in the USA thing. I watched him last year and the year before, and his road from college into the pros, and I think he's done a great job at not only just being a come off a screen shooter, and he's really developed a pull-up game and taking pressure off of Steph and being able to knock down open shots, pressure shots. And one thing I've also noticed he's done a lot that I've been trying to work on is his defense is becoming he's becoming that dude on the team for defense. He's got Andre Iguodala, but he's becoming a defensive monster as well as a shooter. So
is that something that you didn't really focus on in earlier years, or?
I mean, I
can shoot it so well, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's something like that, kind of. A lot of my trainers and coaches, they'll laugh at me because they say I have instead of selective hearing, I have selective defense. So there's times they're shocked when I can pull on the defense, and like when someone calls me out or something, it comes on. But I think it's just focus. And once I focus, my defense is where it needs to be, and it's all up here. So
yeah, I think, defensively, I kind of suffered from that when I was a player. Like, I just love to score.
Sure.
I'm going to put the ball in the basket. I'll worry about defense later. But like you said, once you're challenged, then your manhood is kind of, on the line. So now you step up a little differently. But I think a lot of times I've been teaching my son this is just to always guard the best player.
Right.
And whether you get slaughtered or not,
you learn it.
You're learning, and you're going to obviously, that drive will develop in you as well. Just something to think about. Always guard the best dude, no matter what.
When I can, yes sir.
Yeah. Getting the push-ups in?
Yes. I'm right now. I'm in class. When I walk into class, I'm looking like this, like. Everybody looking at me weird. The teachers, what's wrong with you? Break your back? No, just put in that work, Miss Mac. Put in that work.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You mentioned your team being young. You mentioned carrying a heavy load this season, but it has to be fun as well.
Oh, for sure.
Because I think in basketball you kind of go through different waves, right? So you may be on a team where you're required to do everything. Then you may be on a team that you're not required to do. You're only required to handle the ball or play defense. I think in order to be a really good player, sometimes you got to be able to fit into those different areas. And some great players struggle with that. I look at Iverson, for example. When he played, he was a man forever. He probably was a man when he was in 4th grade. But as he got older, he couldn't handle playing behind, Melo and not taking those shots. So once you're playing with the hoops, once you're playing at your high school, are you able to easily adjust into those areas because you're needed differently in both arenas?
It's been a challenge. I saw it a lot. This past year, coming into my last school season, into this hoop season, and now to this year, I do see a huge role change toward Scarborough. I'm handling the ball, I'm rebounding, I'm playing defense on some of the best cats in the district, and having to make big time shots and creating shots. And when I go to the hoops, it's finishing and open up lanes for more athletic kids to get to the lanes. Once they start doubling them, it's a kick out to me, and I open up that lane. And I do see a role change, but after 1 or 2 games, it's an adjustment, and I'm right back on the right track.
So when are you gonna start getting on that rim?
Actually, was it?
That's gonna take. I'm telling you right now. That's gonna take your game to another level.
Yep, for sure. It's coming. I can dunk now on it. You know, I was dunking in slippers the other day at the gym. It was kind of funny. Everybody looking at me kind of weird, but you know, it's coming, and just stay out of the way. That's all I got to say.
Last thing, man. Just
don't be my first. Do not be my first, because you will know about it. I promise you.
Just give your Twitter handle, your last shout outs, and
okay. It's Janacek. Follow me at Janacek on Twitter and Instagram. It's just my first name, my last name. And stay in the gym and do what fits for you and keep God first. Signing out.